So, you're finally in the game and ready to kick some Snapjob butt. What's the first thing you do? Let's start by following the advice at the bottom of the screen and press space. You're now talking to Wallbreaker, who is part of the CUD Survival Guide. Wallbreaker here is very helpful and informative. If you'd like to take a moment to read everything they have to say, feel free to pause my video here. Alright, so, what do we do now? Well, just so we're both on the same page, this is you, and you just used the default action to speak to Wallbreaker here. Also, I should let you know that I am using a numpad to play Caves of Qud, as it is the best way to specify movement in both cardinal and ordinal directions. Assuming you are using the numpad, and assuming you know how to move, go ahead and move left twice and hit spacebar to talk to our next helpful NPC. This is Kasahind. They are also part of the CUD Survival Guide, and they are even more informative on the basics of CUD, and also have your first quest. I'm going to give you a moment here, if you'd like, to read through everything they have to say, and then accept their quest. While looking through interaction options, you may notice the option to begin a water ritual. Don't worry about this just yet. Just follow along with Kasahind's dialogue trees. They're going to ask you to find yourself a bandage by trading with Elder Irudad, and they will explain how to do that. They will also explain currency in CUD, which is in fact water. Now, let's follow the tutorial questline and go trade with Elder Irudad, who is in the northmost main hut. You can walk into that door to automatically open it. Interact with Elder Irudad with spacebar as you did with Wallbreaker and Kasahind. I recommend going through Elder Irudad's dialogue trees as well, so you might get your first dose of CUD's lore. But for now, go ahead and trade with Elder Irudad by pressing tab. This is the trade menu. You will see it a lot. Right now, you want bandages and witchwood bark. Elder Irudad's inventory is on the left side, and yours is on the right. You can see Irudad has some bandages and witchwood bark. Using the numpad, highlight the bandages and then press plus to add some bandages to your trade. Nothing is final yet until you press O to make the offer. At the bottom of the trade interface on Irudad's side, you can see how many units of water, or drams, the items you have added are worth. And at the bottom of the trade interface on your side, you can see the total value in drams the items you have offered are worth, which should be 0. If the total value in drams that you offer is the same as the total value in drams that you are asking for, you are effectively trading with no currency changing hands. This will be important later, but for now, let's just start by buying things. Highlight the witchwood bark, and instead of pressing plus, press enter. This will add all of the witchwood bark onto the trade instead of a specified number. Press O to finalize the trade. You will be given a prompt letting you know how much you are spending. Go ahead and accept the terms. Go back and talk to Kasahind, and continue through the quest. Kasahind will let you know that witchwood bark is effectively a healing item, which is why I had you buy so many. Now, if you've been going through the CUD Survival Guide, you might have read how important looking at things is, but let's go through it anyway. You want to press L and use the numpad to navigate around. Press F1 if it's a little difficult for you to navigate. This is one of the most important habits you can get into. It should be the first thing you do whenever you see something you don't recognize. Go ahead and look at Kasahind by highlighting them. You'll get a nice descript of what they look like, what their reputation is, what equipment they're wearing, what their health is, and how strong they are relevant to you. If you were to start a fight with Kasahind, you would get squished. It's a good thing that Kasahind is neutral to you, which you can also tell by looking at them. The part I want to focus on right now is the reputation. You can see that they are loved by pariahs and admired by the villagers of Chopa. Reputation is an important resource in CUD, and should always be something you consider when making friends or enemies. If you were to kill Kasahind, which, first of all, rude, you would be angering both pariahs and the villagers of Chopa. They might not hate you right away, but make enough enemies with their friends and you'll be making enemies with them. Talk to Kasahind again. Remember that water ritual? Go ahead and select that option. You've just made a friend of Kasahind, and thus you've made a friend of pariahs and Chopa. Do not underestimate or undervalue reputation, as it can be one of the most powerful resources at your disposal. Let's accept the rest of our quests in Jopa. You'll want to find 3 NPCs, but before you do, let's learn an important command: Auto-Explore. Press 0 on your numpad. Your character will start roaming around Jopa, filling in the missing gaps that you don't know about. They will also auto-pick up stuff that you have set in your options, like fresh water and trinkets. Auto-Explore will also automatically look at statues if they contain important lore that you haven't read before. This is important, but I will cover this in a future episode. Auto-Explore can be a great way to quickly close the empty spaces in a dungeon. It can also be dangerous, because your character is not trying to be too careful. They will stop if they see a bad guy, but they won't, for instance, tiptoe around a mine. Be mindful of the limitations of Auto-Explore. Now that the map is filled in, let's find those 3 NPCs. You want to talk to Argive. They will ask you to obtain for them a trinket. You want to talk to the Zealot, who will ask you to venture to the 6-day stilt. And lastly, talk to Mehmet, who will, if prompted, tell you to head to Red Rock and bring back a corpse of a creature which is a menace to Jopa's crops. Notice you can make the water ritual with Mehmet? Take a look at him and see what kind of rep you'll be gaining. One last person you should talk to is Tam, Jopa's neighborhood dromad. They will be a good source of trade for the very beginning, but hopefully we will find a better merchant in the future. Also, if they have any engraved or painted items, you can look at them for free by highlighting them and pressing L. We'll talk about Sultan lore in the next episode and why it's so important. Alright, to recap. We learned about interacting with the spacebar, looking with the L key, and auto-exploring with the 0. We learned about trading, both how to buy and sell using the plus button to add things to a trade offer, and enter to add all of an item to a trade offer. And we learned a little bit about reputation and how to gain it. We've taken our quests, now it's just a matter of completing them. On the next episode, I'll talk a little bit about combat fundamentals, navigating the wilderness of Caves of Qud, as well as collecting some of the various currencies in Qud, such as water, or reputation, or Sultan lore. If you found this video informative, go ahead and hit the like button, and subscribe for more Qud content. I'll see you guys next time.